Hello, my name is Dan Morrow, and it is my privilege to be the Trust Leader and CEO for CELT, which is Cornwall Education Learning Trust. This is an incredibly exciting time in our development as we look at governance in a different way, embracing a next generation of how we lead, how we support, and how we challenge our schools. As part of our reforms, we've got a new position for our community champions. This is a really exciting time because it means not wading through pages of reports and data, but instead our champions are there to ensure that what the work we do in schools translates for our children, for our communities, for our parents and carers, that we have a mirror reflecting back to us what the lived experience of being in our schools are. So if you are interested in being involved in what is the most important aspect of public service, educating the next generation of our citizens, please do get in touch. It's vital as a community champion we understand that old African proverb, "It takes a village to raise a child," isn't just a phrase that we see on a wall, but is a lived experience. So please do be part of the village, be part of our children's future, and come and support the work we're doing in our schools to ensure it's what is needed, it's what's wanted, and it's what will transform the lives of the children we serve.
So this is who we represent, and that's a large body of young people, and it's about representing mid-Cornwall and making a difference. And what this initiative is about is around engaging with our communities so we can make a difference for that spread across mid-Cornwall. And that's really important that we understand who we are representing and what we are trying to achieve. Previously, it'd be about one school, it would be what we want to achieve as a LGB, etc. But this is, our ambition is to make a difference to mid-Cornwall and Cornwall as a whole. We do a huge amount of work with partners around the county, and it really is around the educational offer that we want to be able to give. And this particular role is there to support our ambition of making sure we're listening to stakeholders linked to every part of our school life. So if we just take a look at that graph, it is a huge area that we serve. Yes, we've got clusters, but actually the interconnectivity of our schools is such where staff move around, children compete with one another, etc. And it's really important that this role is seen as providing the important information to move this agenda forward, which is all about our strapline. Exceptional education experience is what we want to give for all our young people. And we do a huge amount of work with our leaders around what that actually means. And what we're working on at the moment is 100%, so that is every child feels part of this process. And that's hugely ambitious. That's a big task to make sure that no child is left behind and we get it right for absolutely every single one of them. So that's what we want to achieve. And the exceptional education experience is a whole raft of measures that we want to get right in terms of trips, visits, going to the theatre, playing sport, academic outcomes. And that's who we want to be, because we truly believe that that is about enhancing the life chances of all the young people. And again, this particular role will be coming into our schools and talking to the young people, talking to staff, to challenge the leaders of the organisation. Are we getting it right, and are we going in the right direction? And that's why this role, we want to invest in this role and get it absolutely right, because of what we want to achieve. It's no small feat with what we want to achieve. These are our goals. And if I say most of my time is spent on probably goal 1, 2 and 5, and I think what this role really is about is around 3 and 4. The partnership work, transforming the lives, transforming what mid-Cornwall can offer, and then really working on exceptional relationships with our communities. And that's important. That's our driver, is to make sure that our communities feel part of what we're trying to achieve, and vice versa. We really do want to reach out. As Claire's already said, this is about reaching out. That's her role, and making sure we bring people in and we go out to support the ambition of that exceptional education experience. And that's really important. And they're the goals that we've set ourselves. They're the number of people that we want to impact on. And then we hope to grow the role of the community champions to help us in that drive for that educational experience for young people. So what I'd like to do now, following that, is to hand over to Sal.
Thank you all for coming. I'm going to talk a bit about the CELT governance structure that's changed over the last few months. So where we're looking now is very much around our members. So the members are people that are the eyes really looking in at us, ensuring that at the trustee, the full board are carrying out their role. And then underneath the full board, they're very important are our committees. And we're looking at our committees of audit and risk, primary quality of education. So this year we've split our education to two. So we have a primary and a secondary, and also resources and infrastructure. And that takes in finance, people, our estates, IS and IT. So those are our committees that are trustee-led, that works with our directors and other members of the leadership teams. Local tiers for schools are our community champions. So our new role, whereas previously it was known as the local governors board, no longer exists. It's a local tier for schools. Many of the things I think that's changed through Next Gen governance is very much about, previously I think with trust, local governance was very much more around a state-maintained schools, so it's run very much in the governor-wide thing. That's changed across the country with Next Gen coming in. And it's very much more about our community champions being our advocates within the community, listening to the parents, listening to staff, supporting our schools, but in a slightly different way. And to ensure that feed, what you're hearing, what you're seeing is fed back up so it will go up into the primary, into the education boards and the resources and infrastructure, and then into full board. And then it will come back down again. So whatever we get fed up, I'm sure there will be common themes, whereas previously, I've only been a trustee for 12 months, but I can honestly say I wouldn't know what's been going on in the individual schools, because what has been going on hasn't been fed up and we've been unable to feed down. So this gives us a much more opportunity of that. So there's much more, we'll be listening more, and it will be, you said, we did. And that's where we want to move to with the roles. So our members have, some of you will know our members. Dave Foland is the chair of members. They meet 3 times a year. Our trustees, we've seen it's been a huge change in the last 3 months. So we've gone from about 6 trustees, we're now 12 trustees. So we've increased quickly. What we now have is a very different, diverse trust board. Myself, I've become chair of trustees. Jeff, who has been the chair for many, many years and has done a great job for the trust, has made the decision this year it's time to step back. Seb Parker, Colestic Farm. So if you're eating ice cream from the Colestic Farm or Marks and Spencer's, that's where it's coming from. Seb's continuing as the vice chair of trustees. Ashley Mann, who is part of the Southwest Ambulance Trust. Ashley's been a trustee for a while. And John Simmons also has been a trustee for a while. John has told us this is his final year. We'll see that. I'll believe it when we see it. And then you have Sarah, joined us last year. Sarah, deputy head teacher, secondary. Helen Cassens, deputy CEO of WAVE. And she's our safeguarding trustee. Rory Mason, deputy, is he a principal, I think his title is, at Cornwall College Group. Hayley McKinstry is the director of business and partnerships and apprenticeships at Truro and Penwith College. And both of those are going to jointly be our careers trustee. You have to have a careers trustee. That's something that is mandatory. And both of them, they work closely together anyway. And we feel that would be a great opportunity to help us with our transitioning of young people from our schools to their next steps, but also to work with us around our curriculum as well. They have a lot of LMI, they know where the jobs are going to be. So, they're both great assets. Stuart Radnich, some of them might know him. Stuart was at Lostwithiel as a governor. Stuart is from Trading Standards. He was the South West coordinator, he's now the London coordinator. So Jenna Bray. Jenna is the Environmental Health and Safety Manager for Imerys across the country. Katie Chandler. Katie, some of you will know, has been chair of Mount Charles for many years. Katie's University of Falmouth and works on policies and strategy. And John Nunes, also, sorry, we haven't got a photo of him yet, that'll be. So John is NHS, on the mental health side, and is going to be our SEND trustee. So there are some trustees that we have to have specific additional roles. So we have a very new board. So governance is moving in a direction. This year is all about us working together, developing as a team at all levels, working collaboratively, and co-defining the roles. So that is what, which is a very similar, it's in line with what they're doing within the curriculum. So local tier of community champions. So this is just explaining about our new governance model that will be inclusive, transparent and community informed. We have to listen to our communities. I think perhaps there's a trust that hasn't happened enough, and we must listen to what people are saying. So that's our parents, our carers, our grandparents, and what our children and our staff are saying as well. Because we can only move forward and become that exceptional education experience for all if we work together. So this is a team effort. It's one team. So whether you're employed or whether we're volunteering, we can only succeed as one team. So we intend to lead by having stronger partnerships, as I've just said, increased parental and carer and community engagement. And how can we work in our communities more? How can we engage more with our communities? There's some great work going on, and we know that. There is some absolutely brilliant work going on. But in some areas, we feel that there could be more. And we really want to change this active listening and responsiveness. So we are listening more, so not telling. So that's what our aspiration is for our community champions.
I just want to start by saying, hopefully, we know that you're all here because you want to give your time to really make a difference, and you want to make a difference in the communities that you serve. And our schools really are anchor institutions in our communities, and we absolutely say to our leaders all of the time, we are custodians. And CELT is custodians because we know, that over hundreds of years, these schools are remaining within the heart of the community, and people and trust and leaders will change. So you are the people that own those schools and those, you really understand those communities. And that's why we need you. So we also understand that all of our communities are really unique. And so, yes, we have a similar geography in that we're all located in mid-Cornwall. However, we know that there are incredibly different communities with very different contexts. And so we have outlined some roles, but we want to evolve this process in partnership with you, because what we want to do is to really engage with people from the community that are interested in supporting us and really working alongside us. And we hope that you will be spreading the word and talking about the work. And we have some roles that we think would be really important, but we want to hear your voice. And some of you that have already expressed an interest have looked at the draft role descriptors because we wanted to start somewhere, but we also want to get your feedback into that process. So when we were thinking about the community and civic champion, we know that, the services are depleting, and so we need to think differently, and that's why we need to understand who are the key partners, the key people in our communities that we could really collaborate with to join forces to improve the life, improve the support for our families. So a community and civic champion, we really need to hear from you what are the key organisations, the key assets within your local area, and somebody that's that's just passionate about their community and is wanting to help us build those links. And then parent carer champion, I think that does what it says on the tin. So you don't have to be a parent, but it is just somebody that can then engage with our parents and wants to really actively listen and hear and build relationships, because we need to hear honest feedback, and we know that sometimes, you know, we don't always get that right, and we also appreciate that sometimes, you know, we need to build relationships in order to hear what's really being felt, and that will take time, and that's why we need people that are empathetic and able to really build relationships. And that's that key word in all of these roles. It's about building relationships. Somebody that really wants to make a difference, that wants to build relationships and wants to support with those relationships between school and our communities. So then, pupil champion and pupil supporters. So pupil champion, you're going to be the advocate for our learners in school, and also we are going to have some representative students that will be supporting from the school council or school parliaments that will be able to help you in that role. Then a staff champion. Again, it doesn't need to be a staff member, but we would welcome staff members joining. So, but again, we really want that relationship to put staff members at ease so that they feel that they can be really honest about their feelings about things, so that we're hearing, you know, what really matters. And then I'm going to introduce Amy Daniels, our Director of Inclusion, and Amy's going to talk about the Inclusion and SEND champion roles and the Safeguarding champion role.
So the inclusion roles are really, really important to us. Inclusion runs through everything that we do, and we really need to ensure that those learners and the families all can have that voice. So part of that role will be very much understanding the experience that they're entitled to, and then making sure that we are enacting that and hearing what their challenges are and how we can overcome those. There are some statutory aspects to that role as well, where there are some really key parts that you do need to understand and equally challenge us on our thinking to ensure that we're meeting those requirements. So there will be some training alongside that so that you know exactly what that looks like. We're not expecting you to be experts in that area, and then we will be able to enable you to have those conversations with those key staff members, but equally to asking our learners and our parents and carers around their experiences with inclusion. In terms of the safeguarding role, the safeguarding is absolutely what we say is the golden thread that runs through everything that we do. So it is making sure that the experience of our school, that we understand our context, we know what our contextual challenges are, and that we are working to address those, that we are making sure that we are challenging ourselves with our most vulnerable learners. Again, there's some statutory responsibilities that we need from our community champions to be able to fulfil those roles, and that again will be a really key part of the role. But again, you'll have all of the support and training and guidance so that you know what is expected and what sort of questions or things that you'll be engaged in to be able to fulfil that role.
So yes, for the sustainability champion, you don't have to be an expert, you just need to have that passion for the environment, supporting those students in those activities that in a school that work towards that, and support the schools along their journey in sustainability, net zero and the environment.
Okay, so next steps. Now I've had a few chats with some of you on the way in, and I know that some of you have gone through these processes already, so we will sort that out. But as you know, as Amy, our Director of Inclusion, has said, safeguarding is our golden thread. And so we are unapologetic about our robust safeguarding procedures. So lots of you that already have been volunteers or on PTAs or parts of our governing bodies previously, you know that obviously you have completed an application form with some referees and a DBS, and so we can look at that being transferable. And then there is statutory safeguarding training that will be completed annually. So that is so that you are up to date and Amy will be able to do that. We'll be able to make that as an online option as well for accessibility. And then there will be some champion training as required. So some of the things that we will look at, we found a really great training around really supporting us to actively listen and then really think about how we can ensure that feedback brings about change. Because we know, some of you may think, well, we've said this before and then we haven't seen a change as a result. And that's a big part of the role because you will be those advocates. You will be hearing what is being said, coming back and feeding that back, and then deciding collaboratively what are we able to do to improve so that then we can then go back and say, right, you said and we did this as a result. Because we know that the only way we're going to really be able to engage and have that continuous cycle of feedback is if we do make changes and we actually are able to then report that back and check that that's made a difference and that has improved things. So then, just more about the roles and responsibilities. The work is absolutely going to be co-planned with the schools. You're not then going to have to go out on your own and think about what you're going to need to find out. Obviously, you're going to have incidental information, which we absolutely want to hear, and that there's that opportunity to share that. But we will be able to decide collaboratively what are our key areas that we want to find out this term. How are we going to do that? It could be we want you to really come and support at a parents' evening, because we know if we send a survey out, we don't have a huge take-up. But actually, if you're there when people are coming to the parents' evening, you can chat. We could, just be able to take that feedback at that point, for example. So each local tier of community champions will have a chair, and that will be decided amongst you all. And then that local tier will meet officially once a term, and that will be with senior leaders, so our head teachers, and then in some of our larger schools we do have senior leaders that are responsible for community engagement, and so they will very much be working with you and wanting to collaborate. And that also then over time then be taking part in one listening event. But when we start, we may say, actually, what's the one thing we really want to do? And you may do it collaboratively as we gain confidence and develop, and be able to sort of have a full complement. We want to make sure that we get this right. There's no rush. We want to under-promise and then over-deliver, ideally. So it will be that you start to undertake some listening, come and feed back, but the most important bit of the role as well is then really challenging our leaders in schools. So what did we do, what happened as a result last time? Have we fed that back? What has happened as a result, so that we are then making sure that we are acting on that feedback in that cycle. So, and then also in time, the chair of the board and relevant champions, depending on what the focus may have been that term, will join our school insight days. So 2 terms a year, the school has a supportive visit from some people within the trust, because we really want to understand how the school are doing, where there may be any capacity issues, where they may need some support and help. And so you will then be able to play a really important part in that day, because you'll be able to say the feeling from this community is, and you'll be able to really input into that, sharing the successes and also being able to think, what is it we could do next to further improve? So that really is it. So the next steps are, we really want to hear from you. So we know that we haven't always, we haven't got it right historically. We want to change that perception. We really do want to listen, and we are, that's true of our staff as well. We're really wanting to. We've changed processes with our staff so that we can really hear honest feedback from staff, and we want to hear from our communities. And so we need you to help us to be able to make our communities, improve our communities for the families within it, and ultimately you're then going to be impacting on those children's choices and opportunities as they leave school. Afterwards, we're going to be available so that we can just chat informally, find out more. We've got representatives from all of the schools that you've shown interest in, so they can talk to you a little bit more about where their school is and how they feel their current engagement is with their communities. And we want your feedback. We've left some forms on the tables because we want to hear what you think. What have you felt about this evening? And is there anything else that we could do? So, and also we have got the opportunity, we did have the opportunity for safeguarding training, but we did think potentially you may want to do that at another time as well. But also finally, keep spreading the word. We need you to go back and, chat to those people that have shown an interest. I know that some of you have said, oh, I spoke to so-and-so and they would be brilliant. Go and share the message and encourage people to get in touch. As we said, this evening has been filmed, so people would be able to hear it again, but there's no better sort of way than you sharing your thoughts and how we can then work together to make a difference. Thank you very much for coming. Next door, we've got refreshments and our senior leaders from the schools. And we are also available, and we really do want to just be able to chat more informally to help you find out more. Thank you very much.